Hey friends, Frankie and Brad here in the kitchen where we cook music. Today we're going to talk about some elaborate stage setups of concerts we've seen over the years, just setups that were certainly a cut above the norm. Start us off, Brad.
Okay, I actually want to talk about an older act, Screaming Jay Hawkins, in the late 50s. He looked like he was dressed for a Dracula movie, would come on stage, come out of a coffin, and at some point would actually even sing in an outhouse. He had a lot of crazy things he did on stage, but he was the Alice Cooper of the 50s.
Wow,
before Alice Cooper came around.
that's amazing. A person or a band, if you will, that I'd like to mention that really surprised me with a stage act. Probably the greatest light show I ever saw to date was Queen. I saw Queen back in the day. I think The Game was out, or maybe Hot Space, but they came to my hometown and they had this amazing light setup. It was almost like a boom lift that would lift you up to a telephone pole with lights on it, and they could move them up and down at angles or the same, and then they could tilt them down at the floor, raise them up and down. It was just absolutely amazing, aside the fact that they were an amazing band.
Well, talking about Alice Cooper, they went from, electric chairs to guillotine to hanging. They did the whole gamut. And I guess the groups that followed that were like David Bowie and the Spiders from Mars, who kind of took it in an outer space direction.
That's true. I remember seeing Alice Cooper. It's been years back, but it was one of his later performances. He was doing the Frankenstein. I saw that in an outdoor show in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was just literally amazing. But Alice, like you said, he was a pioneer of doing that stuff. Pull us out another one.
Peter Gabriel and Genesis.
Wow, absolutely.
Now, he did a lot of the crazy outfits that for every song he would be a different character.
That's true. They may have been doing that before Bowie. I can't.
And they probably were.
I remember Genesis in the early 70s.
In the very early, yes.
Yeah. A band I've got to mention, I was lucky enough to work this show. I used to work some shows occasionally at the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. And I got to work the show where ELO had a spaceship in the middle of the Coliseum, and it opened up, and the top half was the lights, and they would move, and the bottom half was the stage. And there's actually an old DVD of that concert.
Oh, wow.
It was literally an amazing show. But this platform, it was made out of fiberglass. It literally looked like a spaceship and sat on legs. It was just... It probably cost $1 million to build, but they toured 1 year with that and never heard from it again.
The Kinks did a lot of elaborate stage shows as well.
That's true. I remember 2 albums back to back. They did,
Soap opera?
Soap opera.
Yes.
Soap opera and Schoolboy in Disgrace. I saw the Schoolboy in Disgrace tour, and it was like they acted out all of this on stage just like a live play, and I understand they did the same thing with Soap Opera. Soap Opera is one of my favorite Kink albums. Have we missed anything? Anybody else you can think of?
You had told me that you saw Judas Priest. And
That's
that they
true.
had a elaborate setup.
I forgot about that. I think, I'm not sure if it was the Screaming for Vengeance tour or the tour right after that, but they had a big elaborate monster type setup on stage, and the hand raised up, and Rob Halford, was in the hand as it
Right.
raised up singing, but it was a brilliant show. I've seen the Priest probably a dozen times over the years. They're probably the one band I've seen more than any other band, and it just happened by coincidence. I was able to get a few free passes to see Priest, and then when I lived in Dallas, they came around quite often in some of the smaller arenas that I got
Right.
to see. But they always put on a great show. But that was the only time I ever seen them with the elaborate setup. People, they just can't afford to do that
No, they
anymore.
can't.
It's just the record companies used to pay for a lot of that stuff up front, and the record companies anymore, they don't seem to care about supporting an artist unless you suddenly just make it extremely big, and then they'll throw some money at
Yeah.
you. But unfortunately, the money's just not there to do
No.
those type of setups anymore. But then again, it presses the performers to put on a good quality
Yeah.
show. They don't have any crutches.
Right. There's only a handful that can get that kind of money. Taylor Swift probably
That's
one
true.
of them. Beyonce or
True. Some of I guess it's different from our day, but right now some of the largest performers are some of the mainstream artists.
Right, right,
Not so
exactly.
much the ups or downs, but the main plateau where you get the radio airplay. Unfortunately, when you get out of that box, your finances start to suffer. Listen, man, we appreciate your time, and if you would give us a thumbs up, it helps our site, and if you like us, certainly subscribe. Again, Brad and Frankie here in the kitchen, and hey, thanks for your time, and you have a great day.